So you're more bullish on brine versus hard rock. Could you kind of explain the differences and why you're more bullish on, or why you're focused on brine?
So I think multiple types of lithium resources will feed the battery value chain in the next 10 years. And just to give anyone listening a little bit of background on this. So lithium chemicals that are used to make cathode materials in lithium-ion batteries, like those found in your Tesla or other electric vehicles, it's kind of the dominant battery technology platform now. Those lithium chemicals are principally made from two different types of natural resources. So the first is a mineral, like a solid crystal called spodumene, that is mostly mined in Western Australia. So it's dug out of the ground, upgraded to remove things that are not spodumene, that do not contain lithium. And then a concentrate is sent to China, where it is processed into chemicals like lithium carbonate and lithium hydroxide.
And is that the hard rock, or sorry, go
That's
ahead.
hard rock. Exactly. Okay. Yeah. Colloquially, it's called hard rock, but there are other hard rocks that can produce lithium, like lepidolite and pedalite and zinwaldite and others. So I think it's fair to call all of those hard rocks. But the geology word that you would use is like a pegmatitic mineral, and that refers to the way that the resource is formed geologically. So that's where about half of
I was going to ask, how is that formed? Volcanoes? If I was.
It's so basically, so I'm not a geologist, okay?
Totally
So don't quote me, but basically lithium doesn't like to bind with other minerals fundamentally for kind of physical chemistry reasons. So if you have a pocket of magma in the earth, the lithium will tend to segregate to the top
to it's the lightest element.
Because it's light and due to some of its chemistry. So it'll segregate to the top and concentrate. And then when that pocket of magma kind of cools, it'll eventually form a pegmatite vein or dike, which is a technical mining term. So pegmatite and spodumene is about half of lithium production today. And then the other half is from brines. And the brine is just a salty water. So the lithium is dissolved in nature in a very high salt content.
Much higher than the standard ocean.
Much higher than the ocean. So the ocean is 3.5% by mass salt, mostly sodium chloride and calcium. These lithium natural resource brines are typically between 10 and 30% salt.
Okay.
So 3 to 10 times more salt than the ocean, and much higher lithium concentration. So the ocean has 0.2 ppm of lithium in it, which is a very small quantity of lithium. These brines will have kind of tens to hundreds to thousands of ppm of lithium.
Yeah, that's a huge
totally
difference.
different.
And that's why you're always like, lithium is everywhere, but it's not easily extractable everywhere.
Yeah, there's a heck of a lot of lithium in the world, right? The ocean is the biggest lithium resource in the world, right? Lithium in the ocean. But the question isn't like, do we have enough lithium? The question is, which type of natural resource should we develop to extract lithium from, using which technologies, right? And the technology is a variable that can change, and it does change all the time, right? There are a number of different approaches to make lithium chemicals from natural resources that will incur which environmental impacts, right? So how do you quantify environmental impacts? And that's something I spent a lot of work on doing life cycle assessment with some really smart folks in London called Enviro. And at what cost, right? So what will be the operating expense of liberating lithium from a mineral or making it concentrate from a brine, and then eventually converting it to lithium carbonate or lithium hydroxide. So it's this incredible complex phase space, right? That requires input from geologists and hydrogeologists and environmental experts and chemical engineers and chemists and mechanical engineers and market experts, and all these different skill sets come together to answer that question, right? That complex question.
For sure. So then why are you bullish on brine? Just to pull the thread on that.
So I don't strongly favor brine necessarily over pegmatitic hard rock minerals. I mean, fundamentally, they're all just matter sitting in nature. I mean, I don't like one more than the other. But before I kind of answer that question and like kind of the trade-offs between them, I'd also add that there's a third category of resources, which is sedimentary clays. So from Oregon all the way down to Mexico, there's kind of different deposits of dirt, really. So it doesn't look like a crystal or a mineral. It looks more like a sediment, and it flows. And if you put it in water, it breaks up. It's a very different kind of geology.
And this was in the news because of Tesla.
This was in the news because of Tesla, because they report to be developing their own sedimentary clay project in Nevada. But there's plenty of activity in Nevada focused on sedimentary clays now. It's just there just isn't any commercial production from sedimentary clays yet. But by 2030, there probably will be, almost certainly. So in terms of what is my favorite resource, right? I wouldn't say I have a favorite resource, but what I do prioritize and what I do value and what I do think is important is minimizing the environmental impact of lithium chemical manufacturing from natural resources, period, right? Because the lithium market's going to explode by 8 or 10x in the next decade, right? I mean, it's just like 90% of it doesn't exist yet, right? It's tremendous growth that is happening really right now. And it's happening because of EVs, right? And because of the electrification revolution and the energy transition, right? So
I think I read somewhere that 30% of the lithium that will be used by 2030 hasn't been developed yet.
The majority of lithium values coming out of natural resources today, in 2030, the vast majority of that lithium doesn't exist yet. Those projects have not been built. Those mines have not been dug. Those brine fields have not been developed. Those wells have not been drilled. So there's a tremendous amount of moving around large quantities of material ahead of us in the next decade. And there's a whole bunch of folks working on that, the mining and chemical industries. So